welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are already part of my family, thank you so much for joining me here once again. For those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Kiara Selena. I'm a practical nurse, and on my channel we mainly talk nursing. We also do a bit of health talk. We do beauty, hair. We do a little bit of everything. So if you're into that, please make sure you subscribe, and most importantly, bang on that subscribe button so you will never miss a video from me again. You guys already saw in the title, today we are going to be talking once again about BV or bacterial vaginosis and yeast infections. If you guys have not seen my last video on bacterial vaginosis and yeast infections, make sure you go check that one out. In that video, I really talked about the main differences between the two, the symptoms and the differences in the smell, the discharge. Everything is on there. So if you guys are trying to figure out whether you have bacterial vaginosis or yeast infection, but you guys don't really understand the difference, make sure you go check that video out before watching this one. But in this video, I just wanted to kind of explain how the body works and how the body reacts to things, and maybe why you keep getting BV or yeast infections, because a lot of people have been messaging me saying that their BV or their yeast infections are reoccurrent, that they keep coming despite the antibiotics, despite all the things that they try. And I just wanted to kind of really get into the details of exactly how your body works and how you can prevent reoccurring BV or yeast infections once and for all right? So let's get into that. I'm gonna use an analogy to really help you guys understand. I know that there are a lot of young adults, young females who are just getting into puberty. Their bodies are starting to change and they don't really have anybody to, go to, or maybe they're a little scared to go to their parents or anything like that. And so you guys reach out to me. So I wanna use an analogy that's very simple so that everybody can understand. Let's say that your body is a country. Your body is a country. You are the government, and your immune system or your natural flora is your body's military, right? So your body has its own navy, its own army, its own marine, its own Navy SEALs. It has its own military, right? And that military's responsibility is to protect your country. So that way, if bad bacteria comes in, or if soldiers from somewhere else come into your zone, then your army starts to fight them off, because those soldiers don't belong here. But ultimately, whether you have BV or bacterial vaginosis or you have a yeast infection, yes, they are different, but ultimately the both of them are a disruption in your pH balance, right? So in your vagina, you have good bacteria that's also part of your army, that's also meant to fight off bad things that are not supposed to be there. But what happens if a bigger army than yours comes and invades your country? What happens is it causes an imbalance, right? So what happens if, war breaks out? Bombs are breaking out, guns, tanks, fire, and whatever. So what happens? The sky isn't as clear as it usually is. The sky starts to get a bit smoky. There's chemicals, there's smoke, there's fire. That's basically what's happening down there when this bigger country comes and invades yours. So as the government, as the president, or as the prime minister, what do you have to do to help your army out? Taking in your probiotics, which you can find very easily. You don't even have to go get pay $20 for vitamins or anything. If you want a good dose of probiotics, go get yourself some plain yogurt and start taking in some yogurt. It is full of probiotics, and what that does is it basically gives your army more soldiers and more ammo to fight off this foreign country that came into your country trying to cause a beef. With antibiotics, when it comes to these things, I always say that antibiotics should be used as the very last resort. Why? Because antibiotics antibiotics can decrease your immune system or affect your immune system in a negative way. And why is that? Well, because antibiotics or an antibacterial's job is to kill bacteria. It kills germs. And you may be thinking, well, that's a good thing, right? But no, because remember I told you that your body is composed of germs that should be there as your army. Those germs are there to protect your country from foreign soldiers, right? So antibiotics doesn't know which bacteria is foreign and which bacteria is actually part of your country. All it knows is that if it sees bacteria, it will kill it. And so that can decrease your immune system, because now the antibiotics are not only killing the bad bacteria, they are killing the good bacteria as well. If your good bacteria is gone, well then your immune system is weakened, and if ever new foreign soldiers come into your country, now your country has no soldiers bacteria to fight it off at all because your immune system is weakened. So before taking antibiotics, I always say give your body more ammo, take in more vegetables, drink a lot more water, take a lot of your probiotics, a lot of yogurt, and plain yogurt. If you want to add a little bit of honey to your plain yogurt for taste, then that's fine. Honey in yogurt is amazing. If you put some honey in some yogurt, it tastes delicious. But it is better to eat plain yogurt than go getting those yogurts that are full of sugar. Why? Because if you have a yeast infection, those sugary yogurts aren't really gonna help you because yeast feeds off of sugar. So if you have yeast, okay, if you have a yeast infection and you start taking all this sugar in, that's just gonna help the yeast grow and it's not going to make anything better, which is why I always say to take plain yogurt instead of sugary yogurt. When it comes to antibiotics, another thing that I really want to touch on is if you are going to take antibiotics or if you start taking your antibiotics, you really need to take your full dose. Whether it was prescribed for 7, 10, or 14 days, you have to take your full dose. And I know that you guys hear nurses and doctors telling you this all the time, but I promise there's a reason. It's not because we just want you guys to take pills. There is a reason for it. If you decide to take antibiotics, okay, let's say 2 people are in a boxing ring and they are boxing, right? They're boxing. Or let's say your 2 countries are at war, right? So your country's at war with these foreign germs or whatever, and you take an antibiotic. You start taking your antibiotics. So let's say there's 10,000 soldiers in this foreign army that invaded your body that die after you take your first dose of antibiotics. So you take your first dose of antibiotics and 1,000 of their soldiers die. And they're like, whoa, we weren't expecting that. Like, what is that? We've never seen that before, right? So now they're studying it. They start studying it. And like, what is this? What is this? What is this, right? And they start trying to learn from that first tactic that you pulled that they never saw before. And then you do it a second time, right? And then you look and you're like, hey, I don't have these weird symptoms. I don't have the fishy odor anymore. I don't have, the itching. I don't have anything anymore. I'm just going to stop taking the antibiotics. What happens is those bacteria they're going to become resistant. Why? Well, because you didn't kill all of them and because they were actually able to learn and study your tactics. So now what happens is if your symptoms come back and you are re-prescribed that same antibiotic, well, the 8,000 soldiers left are going to say, we know that trick. We've studied the trick. We know the trick. They're going to become bigger, stronger, and smarter when it comes to the antibiotic because you did not take your full dose and get rid of all of them right away. You let some of them survive and you actually gave them the time to study and understand this antibiotic. So now if you go back on it and you start taking it, it's not going to affect them because they know how to protect themselves and how to shield themselves. So then it becomes harder for your body for your body to basically get rid of them or for the antibiotic to kill them. You know that this foreign army came and invaded your country. You're probably thinking, well, where did this bad bacteria come from? And it could come from several places. And the one thing I'm going to say, especially when it comes to yeast infections for ladies, I know we love our leggings, I know we love our thongs, and I know we love our skinny jeans. But one thing you need to understand is that bacteria thrives and grows in cool, damp, dark areas. Your lady part, your lady area isn't, the shiniest. It isn't the brightest. So that's already one. And it's already a moist place. So it's the perfect place for bacteria to grow in. So that's why it's very good for you to wear cotton underwear. Why? Because it's breathable underwear, right? So it's not going to be as, humid as it would be if you wore a tight ass thong all day long or some really tight leggings, all the way up your crotch or some really tight skinny jeans, right? So that's one. So that's the one thing that can disrupt your pH or that can cause an overgrowth of bad bacteria because by wearing these things, you're causing a good environment for bad bacteria or for bacteria generally to grow in. So that can cause a yeast infection. The second thing is soaps, okay? I know we like to smell good. I know you want to smell good, right? But your lady parts are not meant to smell like roses. If they were supposed to smell like lavender, if they were supposed to smell like eucalyptus or like shea butter, it would. But it has its own smell because it's supposed to smell the way it smells. And vaginas don't smell bad. They just smell like vaginas. So I know you guys want to use your vanilla chocolate soaps and all these things down there, but they are not meant to go there. These soaps are filled with chemicals that kill the good bacteria as well in your body. And then And then that's how bad bacteria and all these imbalances start to happen, because the good soldiers that are there that are supposed to be protecting your country, well, you're killing them with all these chemicals that are in these products that you're washing your area with. So unscented soap and water, Dove, and that's it. Dove, and that is it down there, ladies. That is it. Another thing that can also disrupt your pH balance is semen. So if you guys are having unprotected sex, sometimes semen can disrupt your pH balance as well. So be careful with that. You guys, you won't switch it up sometimes, you know, add a rubber on. But another thing, and you guys are gonna say, well, there's no winning here. But another thing is condoms can actually cause an imbalance as well, because sometimes you have those condoms that are supposed to taste like something, or they have lubes or petroleum and stuff on them, and then those things can actually also cause irritation. So be careful with the kinds of condoms that you guys buy. All these hot and cold lubes, not supposed to go there. All these vanilla flavored lubes, not supposed to go there. All these scented flavored soaps, not supposed to go there. And for God's sake, guys, stay away from Vagisil. Stay away from Vagisil, please. Oh my God, there's nothing worse. It says that it's for female hygiene, and honestly, it's just literally you're setting yourself up for failure. This was just to kind of explain to you guys a little bit more about germs, so that you guys can really understand, you know, how these germs come about, what happens in your body, and how your body is able to fight them off. I really hope that, you know, it helped you guys a little bit. This was a small patho class, okay? Teacher key in the building. But anyway, I really hope this helped you guys. If you guys really want details on the symptoms, on the different discharge that you would have for each, I made a very detailed video about that. I'm gonna leave it down below. So if you guys, like I said in the beginning, if you're trying to determine whether or not you have bacterial vaginosis or yeast infection, go check that video out. But I really hope this video was informative. I hope you guys understand your bodies a little better. If you guys like this video, or if you guys know anyone who can benefit from this information, make sure you like and share. And if you are not yet part of my family, please make sure you do so by subscribing, and most importantly, turn on your notification bell. That way you'll be notified whenever I post future content. I really hope to see you guys in my next one. Stay safe. Bye.